I'm making a 2D medieval fantasy fighting game with some light RPG elements. And what's more roleplay than a Scottish Hollywood actor LARPing as a Spartan King in front of a camera surrounded by green screens? Yeah, that was a long way of me saying that I want to add a Spartan Kick to the game. I've already got a script called Fist that in theory is supposed to work for unarmed attacks, and since feet and hands are basically the same thing, we can just reuse it for the foot. So if we play the game now, then this happens. Which is not the kind of character interaction that I had in mind. So I'll fix whatever this bug is and get to work on the kick animation. I also need to create the action, or rather the scriptable object that contains all the relevant information for this new attack to work. Then I can add it to all of the different fighting styles. And with some additional tweaks in the character controller script, we can now perform a Spartan Kick. It's a good start, but we need a matching animation for the upper body. I've noticed that the stunned animation that I already created seems like a nice fit, so I'll use that one. I think it looks pretty good now, and it also works for other weapon types as well. However, when a fight ends with a kick, it just doesn't feel as satisfying as you might expect. So I'll add some extra force to the ragdoll when a character dies of a pushback attack, which is what the kick is. Alright, so it turns out that now that I've fixed the bug in the Fist script, I can just re-enable the ability to do attacks while unarmed. And just like that, we've got boxing. In the last devlog, I also left out dual wielding since I didn't have the time to make those animations, so that's what I'm gonna do now. So while I take care of that, I'd like to thank my Patreon and YouTube members for supporting the channel and being a part of Gladiatrons, our weekly community gladiator game. First off, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Dai, who is our first participating patron, replacing the Discord member as General Figure 12, who was unceremoniously relegated to Division 2. Now, since the last battle that featured on this channel, Sword Eater has gone from being in the bottom half of the table to being in the first position with a 40-point lead. After some intense fighting, there's not a whole lot of significant movement in the standings. The final duel though will be between Boomer and Nair, who misses 2 hits in a row but finally gets the kill and shoots up to second place with only 2 battles remaining this season. Become a member on either Patreon or YouTube to get your own gladiator in the game. All links are in the description. Thanks guys. So back to dual wielding. I've made animations that fit weapons that can both stab and slash, like swords, but it looks a bit stupid when you have axes. I don't know how to solve this issue without having to make a ton of variations for each animation, which I really don't want to do, so for now I'll keep it like this and maybe come up with a solution in the future. Skipping ahead a few days, and I've now created button controls for mobile, since that is one of the most requested features among beta testers. Even though I'm more of a swiper myself, I think they feel pretty good to use. Especially since they're not all strictly buttons, because you can swipe across the movement buttons in a sort of swiping button hybrid, or just use them as regular buttons. It's really up to the player. One thing that I think is important though is that players should be able to reposition and resize the buttons. I've never created something like this in any of my games before, so I'm sketching it out first instead of getting stuck while just winging it. Turns out that I still got stuck, because this was way more complicated than I thought. I'll have it done before the next devlog though. Instead, the last thing I did was to improve the stamina system. Actions now instantly remove stamina, and when you block, it just stops the regeneration of stamina instead of draining it. Then if you go below a certain threshold, your character will become tired and make this sound that is totally not gonna become annoying to hear over and over again. Alright, so I've published the update now. The game is currently only available in beta for Android. To join, head on over to dreamonstudios.com/beta, sign up to the newsletter and follow the instructions. Also, join the Discord, because if you're a somewhat active member, you can participate in the community gladiator game as a lowly Discord gladiator. A Discordiator. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.